poverty and conservatism. It is puzzling how conservative sometimes people who don't have anything to lose become. They become anti-government, especially anti-welfare. And there might be a lot of manipulation going into that process, or there might not be. There was this Swiss writer, social scientist, who wrote about farmers in Switzerland being conservative because farmers don't like change. They don't want the weather to change. They want predictability. That may be a little bit oversimplistic. I grew up in a country where there were very poor people who supported the most reactionary politicians who didn't have any interest in improving the condition of poor people, but they gained their political favors. I think there's a lot of scaring people. Sometimes people who have very little, actually, instead of not being afraid of losing the nothingness they have, they cling to that. They're scared they're going to lose the little property they have. Many times very poor people have very transitory housing. Many times the housing is not legal. There are no papers for the land or construction permits. So they cling to that, and they don't want somebody to take it away from them. Maybe then a hiding. A codicia, a greed. We can be greedy. Maybe we are greedier the less we have. If I have a barrel of rice, I'm not that greedy about my rice, but if I have one bowl of rice, I'm gonna be greedier. And if I have only half a bowl or one spoonful of rice, I'm gonna kill for it. Sometimes poor people are very anti-taxation, anti-socialism, anti-free education. Maybe there is a thinking of, well, the day I am wealthy, I don't want to be taxed and my money to be taken. Even I don't have it now, I'm going to keep the rich from being taxed because one day I'm going to be rich. That one day I'm going to be like them. It's a big running thing. And then there's the fear of communism. God, in America, that runs so deep. So many stereotypes. Remember, communism or common, it comes from community. It's just a paradox. That paradox, the ones who have the least to lose might be the most conservative ones, or the ones that embrace ideas that actually work against their own interests in the long term. Maybe it's also tied to this conservative movement that has grown stronger and stronger over time in the last 50 years or so, that basically denies expertise and knowledge because universities tend to lean left. The faculties in universities tend to be liberal. So the far right has gone after knowledge itself. William Berkeley infamous thing that he would rather be governed by random people chosen randomly from the phone book as opposed to be governed by the Harvard faculty. So the powerful, the rich have an antagonism among the intellectual class. So they have turned against them, and then they have pushed that message on the poor and educated. And that resonates with somebody, if I'm educated. It makes me feel more powerful if you tell me that the people with knowledge, that doctor, he actually knows, has as little as I do. He just has a body of knowledge that he empowers himself with, but actually he doesn't know better than I do. When it comes to making a decision in a pandemic, anyone is as qualified as a doctor who has had that job for almost 20 years. Of course, it's appealing to be told that. It's appealing to be told that if I don't have education, I don't have knowledge, it doesn't matter because expertise is all fake anyway. Anyone is capable, like anybody else, of making a decision. And I feel better if you're telling me that someday I'm going to have money and I won't be taken away from me by taxes or the communists. You're telling me I have the freedom to do as I want. So here we are, a couple in our 50s, and she washes cars in a car dealership and he works in a bingo parlor. And they feel empowered by all the talk, the anti-expertise talk, and the no taxation, no community college, no free health care. They are empowered by that. Are they really? Yeah, maybe there is a feeling of empowerment, but there is no true empowerment, and that's a big difference. Those very entrenched in power are very good and capable of creating the feeling of empowerment. That's what populists are very good at. That's what fascists were very good at. White power. You feel empowered. You're being told you're superior because you are white. But you're not being given any power. You're just being given this feeling by being told that you're better than somebody of a different race. But there's no true palpable power. You're not getting anything with that package. Yeah, you can go all berserk about how you are superior. Because you're white, you're superior. You have a bigger destiny. And brown people have suffered because of their genes. Empowering, no doubt. The feeling of empowerment. But no real power. The people who hold power, they still hold it. The people who have the money an unreasonable amount of money in proportion to the rest of the population, they hold to that power. And they create these mirages, this fata morgana of empowering. This mythology. Every culture has some mythology of the poor who actually have a lot of money. The mendicant who has a lot of money. When I was a kid, and there was this story about that old woman who was begging in downtown. Everybody knew that she had houses and cars. And the same story of the beggar with a driver in almost every culture. I guess that's a different creature, but connected to this empowerment of the downtrodden, where cultures where existing of classes is created, castes, and there's always somebody inferior to you that you can feel empowered. You feel empowered because even though there are 4 castes above yours, there's one below yours. Or you feel empowered because you have a chance next life. Yeah, if I have real power and money, I would create the feeling of empowerment among the very people who could take away my real power. Let them feel empowered with these espejitos, con estos trucos. But don't ever let them share the power, because that's the only way I can keep my disproportionate power and wealth.